Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at 15 legend teams for the Open Great League. And also, if you want to have some more teams, there was a video around like a few weeks ago when actually the Great League was available the last time. We already took a look at 10 different legend teams, so if you want some more teams, going to be linked at the end card. But otherwise, if you enjoy this type of videos, feel free to subscribe and leave a like if you have not already. But let's start right into the first team. First team coming up from Find Panic. Something a little bit more interesting here as well. We're going to have an Empoleon team. Empoleon, Annihilate, as well as Gligar, of course, for the teams that you're going to encounter here. All the names of the teams are going to be the trainer names that you can find on Twitter as well. So Find Panic here, also the content creator, got to a legend in the Open Great League with Empoleon, Annihilate, and the Gligar. Shadow variant on Gligar is kind of important in the current meta, I would say. So like if you have the Shadow variant, definitely go for that. Empoleon can be Shadow as well if you want to play it, but they apparently played the normal variant as far as I know. But yeah, Annihilate, one of the best say-subs currently in the meta, so definitely makes sense that this team kind of works out well for them. But we can move on to the next one. We're going to have a team here that is going to be kind of similar in certain kind of variations. We're going to have a team with a Lantern in the lead, the Dragonair as a Say Swap, and the Guzzlord in the back. What I kind of like about this team is that you're going to have a Lantern as your Water type in the lead, and a Say Swap of Dragonair which has still coverage of Awkward Tail. And Awkward Tail is going to be great for you to just bait out potential Pokemon that don't really want to face the Lantern with, and you can still punish them, which is going to be great. So definitely something interesting, for example, like Carbink, Bastion, all those Pokemon, they have like a hard typing that's going to be weak to water. You're going to be able to still punish with a Dragonair, which is kind of cool for this team. Guzzlord in the back, actually the best performer in the Open Great League if you just go by Pokemon, which I made a video about the last time when the Great League was available. So check that one out as well if you have not seen this, but we can move on to team number 3. Team number 3 is going to be basically two different kind of legend teams here. The one person, actually both of them have two different teams that they are running as well towards legend. Here we're going to have a Komao in the lead, one of the Pokemon that got buffed this season with Brick Break being now a little bit better, which actually helps Pokemon out quite a bit. We're going to have a Lantern as well as the Charger. What do you want to use as a Say Swap here? Not too sure. Both of them have kinda their downsides and like their upsides. Basically, I feel like Lantern would be better if you have the Skarmory in the back, and I feel like Charger Bug might be better if you have the Lantern in the back as your Say Swap, but it really depends. Still, very solid lineup here. I also kind of feel like that you can kind of decide with Lantern and Charger Bug in the back depending on what your lead is. For example, if you're going to have a lead of Cresselia, you most likely want to go into the Lantern, which is still not a great matchup, but at least you're still going to have the harder matchup of the Charger Bug in the back. And if you have like something different, like you may want to go for the Charger Bug instead, basically always go for the worst matchup for the Pokemon that you encounter in the lead, which I think is the way to go for this team. So, moving on again here, as said before, like this trainer had like several teams that they used. This was also one of them. Not too sure if like the Whiscash was Shadow or not, but Cresselia, Whiscash as well as Talonflame apparently worked out pretty well for them as well. Cresselia most likely the best Pokemon in the Great League. Kinda underrated as well, like underrated. Like people are still of course running this Pokemon, but I don't see it as often as compared, for example, to a Whiscash. Most likely because Whiscash is just cheaper and easier to get for people. But I feel like Cresselia is so strong in the current meta. Like literally so strong, which you can see on PvPoke as well. This thing is just so bulky and can basically hit most of the current meta, especially with the Grass Knot coverage, which is a legacy move, but it is what it is. Team number 5, going to be from a player that's actually always like really high up on the leaderboards as well. Not too sure if they run Shadow Claw or the Powder Snow. Powder Snow could make some sense as well here. Really depends on what you're going to encounter, so not too sure about this. Why I like Shadow Claw maybe here a little bit more is the matchup against the Lantern. Because you have Mantine in the back, Mantine is going to be double weak to the electric typing of Lantern. You're going to have a little bit of a better play if you run Shadow Claw on your lead of the Sandslash. Also not too sure if it was a Shadow variant or not. But basically that's kind of the team here. Say Swap of the Annihilate again here, Mantine in the back. Should work out pretty well, but I feel like Shadow Claw might be a little bit better for this team, especially as your backline is not that weak against something like a Lickitung, so you don't really need Power Snow on it either. But yeah, really depends. They might actually run also not Ice Beam on the Mantine. You can also go for Water Pulse. It's like kind of debate on what you want to run here, but I feel like the Ice Beam might make some sense as well. So let's move on to team number 6. We're going to have a team here that's also very bulky, I guess. You're going to have the LilyNiRiain, the Annihilate, and the Gligar. This team that does make a lot of sense as well. You're going to have in the lead a Pokemon that is very great against especially like common water type Pokemon like Whiscash with Power Whip, or also the Feraligatr, where you're going to be able to double resist the fast move of them. So that's going to be kind of great for you. You're going to have the Annihilate as your Sasor, which is going to be also a Pokemon that you see quite often here in like top teams. And Gligar in the back is just really great right now. Like Gligar's also kind of together with like the Cressaya, like literally S+ tier in my opinion. Like Gligar's so much better now as well this season. I think I actually put like Gligar fairly low in my tier list. I might make another tier list for the Open Great League for like the next week or whatever, and kind of try to re-rank some stuff, because some things definitely changed. For example, Annihilate is a little bit higher maybe than I put last time, but also for example the Feraligatr might be a little bit lower. I feel like it's not doing as much as it did in the beginning, so going to be interesting. But let's move on to team number 7. Here we're going to have Gligar in the lead, the Registeel as well as the Lantern. Not too sure what you're going to run here as a Sasor. I most likely would rather go for Lantern, just because Registeel can be a little bit tricky against Pokemon like the Gligar, which is kind of common as well. But seeing a Registeel is kind of rare. Registeel is the rank 1 Pokemon on PvPoke, but you barely really see it, which is kind of interesting on it. So maybe I'm going to take a look at this team here as well. Gligar in the lead, of course, is like so good against so many matchups. I would say that Sasor should be Lantern for this team, also to bait out potential fighting type Pokemon, as you have a lead that's going to be good against them. Would make more sense to have Lantern as your Sasor for this team, but yeah, let's move on to team number 8. We're going to have a team here, I think that we also saw like quite often otherwise. Charjabug, Lantern, and Vanderbuss. I don't think that this is going to be like that unique as well. I think they had like some people on the last time I made a Legend team video basically as well, which run the same team here with Charjabug and Lantern. But like, yeah, double electric core is kind of great right now. Manabus in the back is going to be great as well in the current meta. Manabus, I would say Manabus is going to spike up quite a little bit, but this team is also great against Manabus, as you're going to have 2 electric type on it. So definitely interesting here. Says up for sure the Lantern in this case, as yeah, you're going to have an electric type still in the lead anyway. So let's move on to team number 9. We're going to have a team that is basically the same, but you're going to have the Whiscash in the back instead of the Lantern, which is kind of interesting. So maybe we could have put them together, but then I would have had 14 teams, and 14 teams doesn't sound as great as 15 teams, so we can just move on into the next team. This team was also something that I think we had on the last top 10 teams as well, but people were running this as well. So like a lot more people got Legend with this team, so this team is definitely a solid one to use. Having Icy Wind and Scald is kind of deadly as well in order to try to get debuffs, but yeah, this team is apparently very, very strong. A lot of people use this, so definitely would recommend you to try it out. 5 more teams to go. We're going to have the Annihilate here on the lead for the next one. We're going to have the Azumarill as well as the Manabus. I would imagine that the Azumarill is the Sasor. Not too sure if they're running the move Hydro Pump on it. I would doubt it currently in the meta. Not too sure if you really need Hydro Pump. I guess it's going to be nice against like a few Pokemon, but usually Ice Beam plus Play Rough coverage is kind of great right now in the meta anyway. So not too sure if this is really needed, but we can move on to team number 12. We're going to have a team here with a Shadow Dragonair in the lead. I'm not sure if it was a Shadow Whiscash as well, but Whiscash it is here. Might be actually, I think it was a Shadow Whiscash, but like, yeah, you can use both variants. Like, there's kind of not a huge difference between those. Of course, there are going to be some different matchups, but it is not going to be the craziest one. But yeah, they were running the Dragonair in the lead, which looks way better in the 2-shield scenario compared to the 1/0 shields, which we're going to take a look at here. And then you're going to have Whiscash and Mantine, 2 water-type Pokemon, but they don't have a common weakness, which is kind of wild about them, because yeah, Electric is going to be double super effective against one, but resisted on the other one, and Grass double super effective on one and neutral against the other one. So it is basically a very perfect core nearly here with the Whiscash and Mantine, which is kind of wild. But maybe I'm gonna make a mono-type challenge as well, but like water mono-type is like literally still so overpowered in this meta, it's kind of wild. But let's move on to team number 13. We're going to have a more of a spicier team here, and I really enjoy this team. There's going to be most likely a video as well coming up, because I already made some gameplay towards a similar team before the last time the Great League went away. Basically, my favorite team for the Open Great League is kind of similar to this one, not like quite the same, but definitely kind of similar. And so I really enjoy Shadow Magnezone. Like, Shadow Magnezone is so great in the Open Great League. Most like my favorite Pokemon to currently use, and you see it already here on PvPoke. It beats so many Pokemon, and the wild thing is, most of of the Pokemon it doesn't beat, it still beats if it gets like a little bit of an energy lead, which you're going to be able to get usually as well. Here, Gligar's most likely the safe swap because it's like the safest Pokemon to play, and the core of Magnezone, Gligar, and Cresselia, like it's literally nearly perfect there. It's so good. There are other Pokemon that work also pretty well with this kind of Pokemon here, which you're gonna see in a video that I'm gonna make eventually. So definitely stay tuned for this. But like my favorite team also for the Great League has the Magnezone, but I'll make a video maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. We will find out shortly, I would say. So, next opponent, next team here, we're going to have, it's like the YouTube talking about what the next opponent is going to be here, but you're going to have the next team. They're definitely running Powder Snow on the Sandslash. I think Sandslash is going to be their closest lead of the Manabuzz and the Vigoroth as your safe swap. It's a little bit tricky to run Vigoroth safe swap, especially if you're going to lose the lead and the opponent is going to have something like the Annihilape in the back, because Annihilape is going to be great for this, but basically, Annihilape, usually at least, it doesn't really matter how much energy they get because all the charge moves are resisted by Manabuzz, which is kind of a great treat to have there. So you're gonna get rid of the potential fighting type and then hopefully the Lone Sandslash can sweep endgame. I feel like a lot of teams are not prepared for Lone Sandslash, so this Pokemon is really strong. Last time I played as well, it was surprisingly overpowered, and so definitely would recommend you to try out a team like this as well. I made a Lone Sandslash review as well for the Great League, like check out the playlist for the Open Great League on my channel. Definitely very solid Pokemon to run. But let's move on to the final one for today. We're going to have here the final one that is going to have the Victory Bell, which we're running Razor Leaf here. You can now also use Magical Leaf. I'm definitely going to do some showcases for the Victory Bell as soon as it's going to be available for me as well on this channel, so definitely stay tuned and subscribe. I'm also going to take a look at this Pokemon in the Open Ultra League because it might be interesting for this one as well. But yeah, basically this is going to be a very overpowered team that you don't really want to face. I would go for Victory Bell as a safe swap just because you have a little bit more play with Acid Spray in the 2-shield scenario. But yeah, Tropius with Razor Leaf is very strong right now as well. There was basically a meta, I think like 2 seasons ago, where Razor Leaf, Tropius in the lead basically beat everything. Now it's going to be a little bit tricky against certain matchups, but like honestly, like Tropius is like such a strong Pokemon. I kind of maybe want to take a look at this again as well. But yeah, this is going to be it for this video. I hope this helped you. Hopefully you can copy some of the teams that other people got to legend with. And yeah, if you want to see some more, there's going to be on the screen some gameplay here for either a team from the Great League or also some more top teams for the Great League. So definitely check those videos out, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.